minutes, but I'll only do it if you allow me to have later on, once the questioning session starts, allow me to criticize Bruce Blakeman.
We'll do the announcement section. Yeah, we'll do the announcement section.
Okay, sounds good.
You had this is what I want to know what it was. What is this called?
Gimbal.
Oh, gimbal.
Well, that's a brand. That's a brand. But the stabilizer generally.
No, she always saw Benny and Panera.
Okay.
And, yeah, so one that she heard me ask Benny to come in, so she brought Benny came to the meetings. Okay.
Yep. Thank you very much. And that entertainment was brought to you by Robert Shinkle. Anyway, welcome. Welcome to Central Queens Republican Club. It's now 7:30. We're going to start the meeting. First, we're going to begin with the Pledge of Allegiance. Would everyone please stand? Unfortunately, we had the mini flags here today in the front. So please accept my apology for that. Let's see. Because Carolyn and Greg, would you please come up? Could I ask you to have the honor of starting us off with the Pledge of Allegiance? From there, son.
Okay.
And-
Share. One mic.
Okay. Go ahead. Oh, I'm sorry, it's over here. Sorry about that. I apologize.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you very much, Greg. Thank you very much, Carol. Okay. We're going to start off with the regular business items of the meeting. First, we have the reading of the closed mission statement. Jim Stallhorn, would you please have the honor?
Should I come up there with a?
Yes, in front of the camera.
Thank you, Mr. President. Mr. Chairman. The mission of this club shall be to advance the principles and purposes of the Republican Party, to elect Republican candidates to public office, to strengthen the civic welfare of the community, and to engage in a vigorous exchange of ideas supporting Republican values.
Thank you. And Jim will also do the honor of doing the roll call, please.
Thank you, Mr. President.
Okay.
Huh?
And Daniel.
Daniel Mayo,
Here.
David Abraham, Kathy Lally, Slil Levy, David Kemp, Isaiah Vega, Carol Cronin, Sophia Worrell, James Schwartzman, Martha Rowan, Arkadiusz Tomaszewski. Is that you, Tom? Phil McManus, Juan Pagan, Gile Chow, Gerard Lally, Emily Tseng, Stephen Weiner, Jim Strawhorn, that's me, Martha Rowan, Phil Grillo, Stan Norwalk, Ruben Cruz, Joel Solomon, Catherine Donnelly, Craig Tyson.
Thank you very much. And next would be the reading of the minutes of our last meeting, which is on January 15th. That will be read by Harris Hockey.
Minutes of the regular meeting of the Central Queens Republican Club held on January 15, 2026 at Grace Lutheran Church, 10315 Union Turnpike, Forest Hills, Queens 11375. The meeting was called to order at 7:30 p.m. Guests Ronan Nahon and Bernard Weidelberg led the Pledge of Allegiance. Jim Strawhorn read the mission statement, Daniel Mayo did the roll call, and Juan Pagan volunteered to read the December 18, 2025 meeting minutes. Anton Trapman motioned to adopt the minutes, seconded by Richard, and it was passed with Isaiah Vega casting one nay vote. Board members in attendance were Juan Pagan, Sophia Worrell, Carol Crone, Craig Tyson, Isaiah Vega, Ruben Cruz, Daniel Mayo, Jim Strawhorn, Joel Solomon, and Phil Grillo. Absent were Martha Rowan, Arkadiusz Tomaszewski, Stan Norwalk, James Schwartzman, David Abraham, Zilil Levy, David Kemp, Emily Zhang, Stephen Weiner, Catherine Donnelly, Zil Cow, Gerard Lally, Kathy Lally, and Phil McManus. 28 members and 13 non-members were in attendance. Sophie Earl delivered the first report as treasurer, reported a bank balance of $4,167.27, with 63 paying members at the beginning of the 2026 calendar year. Announcements. Daniel thanked Larry Block and Michael Ruse for their musical performance before the meeting and welcomed the club's newest paying member, Bernard Weiselberg. Sophia talked about her experience as a naturalized American citizen. Guest George Sarantopoulos talked about his City Council District 47 run in Brooklyn, where he won his Republican primary against Richie Barsamine, but lost the general election to Kayla Sanatososo. George will be starting a conservative online paper named WAUNT, V-A-U-N-T. Phil Grillo talked about his week-long trip to Washington, D.C. with fellow J6ers. Daniel announced that the JFK Democrats want to do a debate with the Republicans on President's Day, and the annual Queens Village Republicans Club's Lincoln Day dinner will be held on March 1st. Speakers. Larry Sharp, running for governor, shared bad news. 23% of voters statewide are registered Republicans, 30% independent, and 47% Democrats. Good news is that Trump won the popular vote due to his coalition. I'm voting for Bobby Kennedy through Trump as an example. New York statewide has not had a Republican elected for 24 years. Larry tends to win with 3 or 4 fusion ballot access lines. Ronan Nahum, who ran for mayor last year, is also running for governor and believes in the primary. Bernard Weiselberg, running for State Senate, District 22 in Brooklyn, shared his story of when he ran for City Council and State Senate special election last year. Bernard shared that he was offered $1.2 million to run Lincoln Hospital and said he wants to be a state senator for $142,000. Why? To serve his community. Juan Pagan ran against John Liu for State Senate back in 2024, but was knocked off the ballot by the senator. Juan shared several poor pieces of legislation currently before Albany's legislator. The floor was open for other candidates who wanted to make their candidacy announcements. Phil Grillo introduced his run for State Assembly District 26. Since the meeting was running past 9:30, Richard MacArthur asked Phil to cut his speech short. Josephine Aronson announced that the New York Citizens Audit, now under the umbrella of United Sovereign Americans, filed a federal anti-voting lawsuit against Letitia James. A shouting match between her and Phil Grillo ensured as Daniel had the meeting end at 9:37 p.m. Phil Grillo won the 50-50 raffle and gave the $20 remaining back to the club. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Harris. Are there any corrections or comments on the minutes of the last meeting? Seeing none, do I have a motion to adopt the minutes? Okay, Anton, and do I have a second? Second by Eric. Do I have, let's see, all in favor says aye.
Aye.
All in opposed?
Nay.
One nay. Okay, Isaiah Vega. The minutes have been adopted. Moving on to the next item, the treasury report. So here's a little bit late, but let me go read to our current balance. We have $1,426.20 in the bank and about 62 members in good standing. Certainly, if you would like to be a member of the club, you're welcome to. Basically, it's $30 per individual, $50 per pair, and that help pay for the food and the rental of the room. Anyway. Moving on now to the next item on the agenda, is announcements. Now, in the announcement section, most of you who have came to the club regularly knows it's an open discussion. Anybody could talk. Anton, you want to say
I
something?
have a question on the treasury report.
Sure, go ahead.
Do we have a consistent rent here, or is it?
Yes, the consistent rent.
Okay, all right.
Yeah. Okay, so anyone who want to make some announcement, you're welcome to. I think Harris, you say you want to make an announcement?
Yeah, sure, I'll make that announcement.
Everybody stay in between, in the middle of this window.
Okay, no problem.
Just don't jump out.
In the meantime, anybody else want to make some announcements?
I got one, Danny.
Okay. Oh, Ronald, would you come up, since we need to be in front of the YouTube camera. The meeting's been filmed live by YouTube, so you could also clip out whatever sections you like after the meeting. Oh, sorry, this right here is yours, okay.
So a new initiative I'm going to be starting with the club is to have more community service activities throughout the community in Forest Hills and throughout the entirety of Queens. And right now, one of the big things I'm working on is there is a urban farm slash compost collective, Forest Hills Compost Collective. It meets up on off Yellowstone Road over there. It meets every Saturday, the first Saturday of the month from like 11 to 1. I'll give more details in the group chat so we can have more activity and just, be involved in the local community. That's pretty much it. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Ronald. That's Ronald. I'm on the community, the compost collective. Okay. Anyone else wants to make, go ahead.
Okay, I'm gonna criticize Bruce Blakeman. I think Bruce Blakeman should select one of these Republican women state senators for lieutenant governor. Patricia Coners-Nerke Fitzpatrick, elected in 2022. She represents parts of Nassau County focusing on bail reform, public safety, and financial oversight. Pam Hemling, District 54, represents the Finger Lakes region, advocating for agriculture, veterans, law enforcement, and tax reduction. Alex Week, District 4, represents parts of Long Island, focusing on public safety, tax relief, and serving on committees for social services and veterans. Kathleen Mascioni, former, served the 43rd District, focusing on tax relief and government reform. And Daphne Jordon served the 43rd District. If Bruce doesn't select a woman as his lieutenant governor, he will not win the election.
He already selected a judge, didn't he?
I know you selected a police officer, who I don't think he has any way of winning with that guy. Now the other thing I want to criticize is the selection of the Attorney General, the Indian woman who was selected. She's running on a 9/11 platform, and I strongly think that's Islamophobic, and my family will not vote for her. And we asked her to step down as the Attorney General candidate. And I strongly recommend that the African American who ran for Attorney General in 2018, Mr. Keith Wofford, I think Bruce should select Republican Keith Wofford as Lieutenant Governor or Lieutenant Governor, as the Attorney General candidate who ran in 2018. He has a graduate of Harvard. I think he'll be a much better candidate to get the black vote in New York City. Thank you.
Thank you very much, guys. Anyone else wants to make some comments? Yes, question, Anton.
When Blakeman got the nomination at the Republican convention,
Yes, he did.
is the other one linked with him for sure? The sheriff or everything from upstate?
Basically, the sheriff, whoever the endorsed candidate pick can the state endorse.
Yeah, so.
Just since they own the same ticket.
Is there any primary or anything?
No primary.
So everything he's saying is just opinion, but it's not, it's set already, right?
It's set already.
Well, they haven't
As
collected
far as,
petitions yet.
No, they don't need petition for that. Once you endorse it for statewide, there's no petition necessary. Okay. I guess-
Sheriff.
I can announce.
Okay.
Can you tell us your name, please, who you are?
My name is Rinaldi, yes. This is my neighborhood, thank you very much. No, I don't need clapping, listen, I just wanted to say, with the advancement in AI, right, and all the stuff that's going on specifically, one of the things about the assembly, is that it's up in upstate New York. And the one thing that we all have to really get in front of, which I don't think anyone is talking about, is that up in upstate New York, we have the Finger Lakes. We have an immense resource of fresh water. The usage of AI, which uses an insane amount of energy, more than any of us can ever output. I think it's extremely important that we start focusing on the natural resource, one of the great fuel natural resources that we have up in the Finger Lakes. And if we don't get in front of making sure that that resource and that asset remains in the hands of the people, is that they will do what they do with everything else and they will sell it off. That's our water, it belongs to us, and we must do everything that we can to ensure that no matter what they do with that water, that it comes back and it benefits each and every one of us. Yes, what's up?
Buffalo, Niagara Falls.
That too. I'm saying, upstate New York has one of the greatest abundant resources that is soon going to be used against us, specifically the fresh water. And, all of this, these battery plants that they're putting in everywhere and everything like that, they're going to try to convert it into hydrogen at some point. Whenever you hear about all that, and the issue of that is that you might think that the byproduct of processing hydrogen is water, but in reality it's water minus every single thing, the biological aspects of it that we need. So they are going to steal that water from us unless we wake up and we fight and make sure that that resource remains in the hands of the people, yes.
That's why you cannot have, what is it, distilled water, you can't drink it. You can't drink distilled water.
Yeah, you
It
can't.
upsets the electrolyte balance.
Either way, if they process that water and dump it back into the Finger Lakes and dump it back into our water system, it's going to be a massive problem, yes.
Is the governor involved in this at all?
See, the thing is that with all of this, Bitcoin and all of this digital currency and all the nonsense that they're going to do, we must protect our natural resources. We cannot let them take it because they will sell it off like they did with everything else. So I'm just here to make a point saying all eyes on upstate New York and our natural resources and the fresh water, because if we don't do anything about it, that's the next domino to fall. Believe me, I promise you that. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for bringing that to our attention. Anyone else want to make some comments? Phil, you said you want to say something? No. Okay. Okay, some other...
one more thing, if anybody's coming up to speak, you stay in between here and here, or else the camera won't catch you, all right? So make sure you do that.
Okay, some other announcements. On March 1st, the Queens Village Club is sponsoring its annual Lincoln Dinner. It is the largest gathering of Republicans in the county of Queens. Bruce Blakeman is one of the keynote speakers, along with Laura Logan. She's the 60 Minutes journalist. She'll be there as well. Unfortunately, the ticket is $200 if you pay early, meaning basically the 22nd.
Next
Okay.
week already.
22nd is the last day there, and $250 after that. If you have any questions, you can check our website or let me know. There's also some information in the back. Some other announcements. Okay, let's see. On April 28th, there is a special election for City Council District 3. The person that basically won that seat, okay, Eric Botchert, he won the special election in February for State Senate, 47th District. And we had someone in the club tonight who had filed his petition to run in that district, and that was Harris Patti. You heard him earlier.
Can you tell us what area that is?
That is basically west side of Manhattan. West side of Manhattan.
Below 55th Street, down to Spring Street, west of 6th Avenue.
Wow, it's a long route.
And one more announcement, the person that organized this has just came in, okay, Stan Norwalk. Our board, last week, we approved a joint meeting with the JFK Democrats for the March 19th. It's our way of trying to reach out to different opinions and hopefully bring them together. We are going to have a debate, okay, on the presidential level, since we know there's a lot of issues, so we're going to leave the Mamdani out, we're going to leave Hochul out, at least for this round. We're just going to focus on Trump, okay? So Stan, would you like to talk about the meeting that we're going to have that the board agreed to on March 19th? You want to come on up?
Sure,
Okay.
sure.
Okay. And please stand between here.
Okay. Yeah, hi. Yeah, I guess most of you know that March 19th, we're having a panel discussion. We're going to have Democrats versus Republicans. We have a partial panel. If anyone wants to join the panel, speak to
Somebody.
this gentleman here. And it should be very interesting.
Where is it?
We're going to discuss basically national politics, nothing local, and that's basically it. Anybody have any questions?
This is a silly question because I wasn't
Sure.
paying attention. Are you a Democrat or Republican?
Well, it's a good question, but I belong to the common sense party. If the Democrats have a good policy, I'll vote for that. Not the party, but for the policy.
I mean, in terms of the debate, are you one of the people who are going to be speaking?
I'm not going to be on the panel.
Okay.
I'm not.
Okay, any other questions there? So it should be rather exciting. Basically, our objective is to let them know that we have more commonalities, and then what really divides us there. If we just go ahead and leave people, basically, I mean, personally, I just don't like what's happening right now in the country. Then this is our way of trying to bridge some of the, hopefully, the divide and time.
How did you get speakers for this? What was the power, the procedure?
Basically, the board agrees that basically anyone who wants to be a speaker or a panelist, just let us know. We'll just go ahead. We may just go let them speak on this, there'll be question and answers. Some of the ones that Stan has sort of suggested, we have, I guess you want to tell them what were some of the people you basically contacted, or?
Or the people I've
Yeah,
contacted?
go ahead.
Well, yeah, well, we're looking for people who have strong opinions about their policies. We have somebody on Facebook who's an attorney. He's full of hate, actually. I thought he would be very interesting to have. He's very smart. And he'll be on the panel, and we're trying to get Jim Gennaro over. Jim is the city councilman. And I have a hardcore Italian guy who's on the Republican side. He's very passionate, so we have a bunch of people we're looking at. We have we have a legal immigrant, I should say, not illegal. And she is, she's from El Salvador. She's very passionate about being an American. She came here legally, and she's gonna tell us how she hates the fact that people from the Caribbean and her country are coming here for free stuff. She'll be on the panel as well.
And certainly, if you have anyone you want to recommend, please bring to our attention. We certainly would like to let them join us, okay? I mean, there are some ground rules we have so far established. Number one is no fist fighting, no shouting matches, and I think Stan and I also agree that as a nice gesture, they should at least shake each other's hand at the beginning of the meeting and at the end of the meeting. Hopefully they'll hug, but at least shake their hand will be good, okay?
Yeah, and we're gonna have a precinct there, I think, either the 102 or the 112.
Yeah, 112, this is 112 area.
Just in case.
Yeah, so we'll be pleased, so we will have some police
It
presence.
should be a very interesting evening.
Any other questions before we move on to the speakers? Okay, let's move on to the speakers. We have 3 candidates so far that's here tonight, okay? Please, John, Greg, and let's see, who's Amy? Oh, that's for Congress. Okay. So, Amy, please, would you come up? Please, will you come up? Lindsay, Greg? And the others, will they come and join us, or we'll have them at the table? Basically, a little bit closer to the middle, so we can get you in the camera. Okay. So, Eric, are they in or out? Can you check the cameras to see? Yeah, oh, okay, go ahead, one ship. Go to the middle.
It's on. It's on.
Okay. So would you please introduce yourself, talk about your issues? I mean, this is free time, this floor is yours. Whoever want to start first, Greg or Amy? Either one.
Hello, thank you for the invitation. My name is Amy Jordon, and I am running for Jerry Nambler's seat in District 12 Manhattan. Who's sick and tired of being sick and tired? I appreciate the temperature of, having debates and positive debates and civil debates, because I've been saying that we are in a crisis of consciousness and really need to come back to a new humanistic leadership. What tipped me over to run in September of 2025, I was at CVS. I've been living with type 1 diabetes for 52 years, and the insulin that I've been taking forever was denied by my insurance, and the poor pharmacist, it wasn't her fault, said, well, the formulary change, they want you to take something else that doesn't work for me. And I went to the website, and of course, you have to jump through hoops of fire now to get to your representatives, and I said enough is enough. I've been thinking about running for office, especially on healthcare. Again, living with type 1 diabetes, I have a visual disability, I have a mobility disability, there is not accessibility in New York City or anywhere else. But on a much bigger level, I really feel that we're in a crisis of consciousness and we need humanistic leadership. And I've also been saying that we didn't get into all of this mess overnight, and we're not going to get out of it overnight. We're going to have to start electing leaders that are willing to dialogue, willing to come to the table, not tit for tat over personality, and really create solutions. We need to get big lobby and big money out of politics. I have a long list of legislative initiatives that we can discuss later, mostly on healthcare, education, economic development, fair taxation. I'm also vaccine injured. That's how I got diabetes, so I have strong opinions about that. So I'm looking forward to, again, I'm not a career politician, former dancer, master educator, disability advocate. So I'm in it for the people and to bring a fresh face and a fresh, lived experience of going to the pharmacy, having my insulin denied. It was $601.99 per way. That's a separate problem. So you either die or you die, because who can pay that much money for a life-sustaining drug? So I appreciate the opportunity to be here. Thank you for what you all are doing. These are the kinds of conversations that we need to be having, and I'm happy to answer any questions. So thank you so much.
Can I ask you, or maybe we're going to ask the question later or right now?
Now.
Ask away, I'll do my best.
Okay, I know that Congressman Nadler a long time ago was like for the 9/11 residents and workers.
Yeah.
That's how, the community in Bellevue, Governor Empress was open. And also later on, 2011, the money was paid to those injured. Are you going to still support that 9/11 sick people and injured people? Because the bill was signed, but I know that had to be extended.
Yes.
That's the one thing.
Yes, absolutely. I mean, that must continue. I have very.
And another question is, are you for a choice to choose if people want to choose take a vaccine or not? Because, yeah.
Go ahead.
Does the people can have a choice or not?
I'm absolutely 100% for medical freedom. If that's something that works for you, great. At the same time, if you have questions or opposition to it, that should be the right of the parents and the adults. So it really needs to be up to the individual, and also we need to have more transparency about what the medications are so that there's full awareness, not just a mandate. So this should very much, in my opinion, be up to the individual, medical freedom.
Questions? Danny, I got a question. Yeah, in your community, it's basically a very heavy liberal democratic.
Yes, I know.
What have you done to try to make inroads in your community to get well-known and people to think of switching to vote for a Republican?
Thank you for that question. Part of our goal, like Mr. Sharp, is to gain access to multiple lines through signatures, but I've been in the community a long time, and I say that mine is a listening campaign. I want to hear from everyone. I don't want to get caught up in I'm this or I'm that, because like you were saying, I think at the core of it, we all really have a lot of similar goals. So my goal is to just get to know the community. I know it's a very large district, and use my experience and my lived experience as a commonality of, and also I have a very strong policy program. So it's not hype, it's actual ideas that would be implemented and bills that would be proposed. So, like I said, we didn't get here overnight, we're not going to get out of it overnight, but the more dialogue I can have with the more people, I think the life-to-life connections, and people don't feel heard and they don't feel seen right now at all. They feel just passed over. So I think that human interaction is what's going to, make the difference.
My question is for all three of you. I already asked Caroline the question. So my question is, do you support legalizing marijuana or oppose legalizing marijuana? Under federal law, marijuana is a Schedule I drug, and is illegal in the entire country. I know what the states are doing is violating federal law. What is your position? Would you support legalizing marijuana or would you oppose? This is a question for all three.
Thank you for the question. You know, these issues are so complicated, and I'm not trying to evade the question. I'm not sure there's a black and white answer. As a person recovering from major trauma, I think it can be useful in certain medical situations. Full legalization, I think, is complicated and contributing to a lot of economic, demise. And at the same time, there's jail, I'm missing the word, but how incarceration, there it is. Issues that need to be addressed. So this is something that's gonna have to be really, again, talked through with dialogue. In certain aspects I might support it, but not 100%, and there would have to be legislation around where the boundary lines fall, and that would have to get into some very specific ideas, because, nothing is all good or all bad. In certain situations, I think having access to it could be helpful, and others, I think it's become a problem, so we're gonna have to come to a compromise.
The FDA has not approved marijuana as medicine. The Federal Food and Drug Administration.
Yes, I understand that as well. I've had a lot of personal success, and I'm very attuned to a more holistic community. The FDA has approved a lot of drugs that are also very harmful. So again, I don't think it's so black and white. And we'd have to really do more research, get more peer-reviewed information, do more testing about the both benefits and challenges of using it both medically. Obviously, as a drug, I don't condone that. And again, I'm not trying to evade your question at all. I just think it's a very layered issue, and we'd have to do a really deep dive into how we would approach a solution, so.
I guess Greg and Caroline, would like to answer that question before you introduce your candidacy?
I'll go third.
Legalize marijuana, I know what the president recently done, he deregulated it, right? I have a problem with it. I think it's a gateway drug, I think it causes a lot of problems in our society, and I think the money that's been infused with that industry has really corrupted a lot of local officials. I am 100% against it.
Okay, so please continue with your candidacy introduction.
Okay, great. I'm actually going to stand if that works for everybody, so I can see everyone.
Please, I'm comfortable with it.
Hopefully that doesn't make you guys uncomfortable. So, all right, thank you. So hi everyone, good evening. How are we tonight?
Hi, Calvin.
We'll try it again. Hey Isaiah, how are you? Hello. Okay, that was a little bit better. Hi everybody, I'm Caroline Shinkle, and it's such an honor to be with you tonight here in Queens. Thank you so much for inviting me. So I'm Caroline Shinkle, and like any New Yorker, I like to think big. Always have. That's why I'm running for Congress as a Republican in Manhattan, New York's 12th Congressional District, as Amy knows. And ladies and gentlemen, this truly is the eye of the political storm. We are at an inflection point in history where we need a positive voice in Washington to enable and support New Yorkers to build our dreams through innovation, opportunity, and common sense. So I'm running for Congress to give voters in Manhattan a real choice on the ballot and to resurrect the power of private enterprise, pride, and prosperity, thank you, in the Big Apple. It's about time. No, I don't have to tell you, because we see it every day, that our city is on the brink. from crime to socialism to anti-Semitism to the out-of-control cost of living that is literally pricing New Yorkers out of their own neighborhoods, I think this critical time in history calls for a different kind of candidate. A Republican candidate. Thank you. A Republican candidate who has the technical depth to help usher in a new era of unbridled economic prosperity for New York. So here I am. Some brief background on me. Now, my background is not rhetoric, it's rooted in results. I'm a graduate of MIT and Harvard Law School. I've worked at central banks all over the world and here at home, like the Federal Reserve Board of Governors. I practice corporate law at the highest levels in Manhattan. I understand how the economy works. I've lived overseas, including in Jerusalem, when I was working at the Central Bank of Israel. So combating anti-Semitism is not just a talking point for me, it's a core priority. And as a member of Congress, I won't just sign statements. I will use my background in international finance to cut off the oxygen that is fueling hate and terror at the source. Thank you. The money. We have to follow the money. I'm also a longtime union member of SAG-AFTRA. Thank you. Thank you. And I'm a lifelong Republican. Thank you. I think many people here tonight are too. But ladies and gentlemen, I'm a numbers person. I graduated from MIT. I do like numbers, and this is a tough district, I'm not gonna lie. But look at the current reality. Look at what our mayor is doing. We have seen firsthand the disastrous consequences of a socialist first agenda at the local level. And I think people are truly ready for fresh, innovative, competent leadership in Manhattan to deliver some tangible solutions to fix the out-of-control Democrat inflation and outrageous cost of living in our city. But this can and must be done without stealing any more money from the taxpayers. Now, we need to resurrect the power of private enterprise and not tax the hell out of it. Our current Congressman, Jerry Nadler, representing the 12th Congressional District, who, by the way, was first elected before I was born, so that gives you an indication of how old he might be. He's not done a single thing in all these decades to address the cost of living issue. In fact, he's consistently voted for deficit spending, which is why we've all been subjected to the triple whammy that is high federal taxes, high inflation, and high interest rates on top of a record national debt. Now, maybe that's a quadruple whammy. You can be the judge. But I guarantee you, any Democrat elected in the 12th will continue to vote this failed record. This is what Democrats do. But this is not what I will do. I'm a free enterpriser. I'm focused on economic empowerment. We need to build a bigger pie, not seize and redistribute opportunity. Thank you. And we need to create the conditions to empower people to build, whether that's a company, a career, a family, a future. And we can do that through smart economic policy, by rewarding work, by getting government out of the way, and by betting on ourselves again. Now, some candidates want to make this race a referendum on national personalities. I want to make this race a referendum on the future of Manhattan. You see, I'm focused on the people who cannot afford to pay rent, the graduates buried in student debt, the businesses that are having to close their doors. So start spreading the news. Little Frank Sinatra in there for everybody. Please join me on this journey. I would love to earn your support. And together, let's take back our city, one vote at a time. Please visit my website, carolinefromnewyork.com, to learn more. And I look forward to meeting each of you tonight. And I'll just say one more thing. Let's shock conventional wisdom and not elect another Democrat with the same failed thinking to elect New York 12. let's vote Caroline Shinkle for Congress. Thank you so much. Thank you, everybody. Yes.
Question for you is, since you're a numbers person in finance, is this on? Sorry about that. Since you're a numbers person and you like finance and so on, are you gonna go after de Blasio's wife for stealing $850 million from New York City? Because nobody ever talks about that. They're in a deficit in New York City. They're trying to tax everybody, raise taxes to come up with all this money. It's $850 million right there for you.
That's a lot of cash, yeah. And thank you for raising that. It's something that we will definitely look at. And we're not going to tolerate corruption in any form.
Did you get the nomination from the Manhattan GOP, the New York GOP? Did they give you the nomination?
The Manhattan GOP will be endorsing next week.
Next week?
Yes,
Well, signature starts on the 24th.
that is correct.
I mean, if you don't go out there and get those signatures, you know, I mean, that's the most important. If you don't get on the ballot, you're not running for office.
We're going to be out there.
You're not a candidate until you get on the ballot. Do you have a team helping you
I do.
get signatures?
I do.
All right,
Yes.
just getting in those buildings and getting the Republicans.
We're going to be out there. You're right. You're right.
Any other questions before we move to the next speaker? Oh, sorry.
Isaiah,
How you doing, Carolyn?
how are you?
I'm good, I'm good. Glad to see you here tonight. This is not more of a question, it's more of a statement, you know. You like numbers, I like numbers, and you know, we saw the data last year. Curtis Kirk, as I like to call him, didn't do so well. But Cuomo actually won the 12th Congressional District in the general election. So with a whole field of candidates trying to test national politics by running to the left as far as they can, it seems like the 12th is craving a more moderate sort of candidate. So I think if we see who comes out of that primary, seeing who can out-left each other or out-DSA each other, I think we're looking at a strong race going into November. So don't be discouraged by the numbers. I encourage you to stay strong, keep to your message, which is a very good message, by the way, and we'll see what we can do.
Thank you. That means a lot.
Any other questions before we move to Greg Hatch? Okay, you can always ask questions afterwards, of course. So Greg, go ahead.
Thank you. And thank you, Dan. I appreciate it. That was a great welcome when I came in before. I appreciate that very much. And thank you all for being here. I figured I'd tell you a little bit about myself and why I'm running, and then tell you what the status of my race is. I'm a regular guy. I'm not a politician. I'm not looking for a career. I grew up in the district. I was raised in the district. At 13, I was washing dishes in a restaurant until 10, 11 o'clock at night to make my own way. I went to public school, graduated high school, and I joined the United States Air Force.
God bless you.
I served in the final years of the Cold War, so I have some experience with communism and fighting it, and I'm happy to do that again, because I think we need it. That's really been a problem. So I served overseas. I served in Europe when I was actually in Berlin when the wall came down, so I have some real experience there. I got out of the Air Force, I came back, and nobody was paying for my school, so I had to work a full-time job while going to school. I went to college full-time and worked at CBS Broadcasting on 57th Street. I chose my college because it was John Jay College. It was only a block away from where I was working, so it worked out pretty well for me. So I got my bachelor's degree in 3 years while working a full-time job. I got a scholarship to law school, and it was the only time in my life I didn't work and go to school because I felt like I needed to really pay attention and learn the law. So I get out of law school, I come back to the United States. Oh, no, I'm sorry, I was in the United States when I went to law school. So I came back from school, I went to school in Ohio. I came back to New York and started to make my way. I worked for a law firm for a little while. I represented victims of asbestos disease all over the country. And I started my firm literally 3 months after 9/11 occurred. Even though we didn't have the resources at the time, and I'm not a big self-promoter, but I think you should know the kind of person I am and what I've done with my life. I think the best indication of what somebody does in the future is what they've done in the past. Okay, so I started my firm. I didn't have much in the way of resources at all at the time, but it was an incredibly patriotic time. It was a very difficult time after 9/11. So we did 9/11 cases for free. We were the only firm that was doing it that I know of other firms out there were actually charging higher fees than they do in normal cases, which absolutely made no sense to me, because it's a lot easier to do a case before the Victims' Compensation Fund. And I remember your question before. 100% I would vote for that. I would absolutely. I represent union members all over the country.
There's another thing about, the up to the 14th Street, people can apply for the treatment, and
yeah, the detail.
or
Yeah.
to up to the 11th. That's a detail, but later on.
So I did those cases for free. I built a firm by being honorable, by being trustworthy and remaining worthy of that trust. And I've employed countless people over the years in very high-paying jobs, and I've been successful not because I've been aggressive. It's because I've been honest and trustworthy, and I've been good to the people who I employ, who I respect, and I treat them with respect. And I've done that my entire life. I've built trust my whole life. 93% of Americans don't trust their member of Congress.
Wow.
93%. And that's one of the reasons I'm really lying. I think I have really something to offer. I'm a trustworthy guy. And, always have your antennas up when someone tells you that, okay? But I'll tell you right now, look in my background. I've done right by everybody in my life. And I have a breadth of experience that will pay off very well for the people of the district in New York's 3rd Congressional District. I've created jobs. I've built businesses. I've navigated a very tough political climate at the time. I've navigated a very complex industry with the worst compliance issues in New York, building a firm. I built two of the top law firms in New York, and I'm doing very, very well. And I stepped away from all of that, all the money that comes with that, to do this, to put my own money up, because I think we're really in a crisis of trust in this country. We don't have any trust in our members of Congress. And what happens when that occurs? People disengage because they don't feel like they have a say in their future. They don't feel like they have a say in their own destiny. And that is not what I spent my youth in the military for, halfway around the world. To come back to this country and see it the way it is now. It's not acceptable. It shouldn't be acceptable to anybody in this room what's going on in this country. So I'm standing up. And sadly, let me tell you, let me get back to the status of my race, okay? I've been running a very effective and very disciplined America First campaign against the incumbent Tom Suozzi for over 4 months now. And we've been very successful. We have a great we have a groundswell of support among the people in our district. We have a great reach out from social media. We have endorsements. I grew up in a union household, so I can take away a lot of Suozzi's base there. I grew up in a union household. My dad was a union president. I grew up on the picket line and going to union halls and listen to him speak. I used to love it. I missed him today. He's going 10 years. I miss him every day. But I have this breadth of experience that will translate very well to the people of the district. And just like I think you said as well, I would never consider running for Congress unless I was willing to do it 100%. When you're running for Congress, you're making decisions for people's families, their lives, their security, their country. These are the most sacred decisions being made on your behalf. So what does that take? Does that take someone doing it part-time and getting out there and doing it? No. This has to be your life every single day. I'm spending every single day my own money, time away from my family. My family's on vacation right now. I'm supposed to be with them. But I'm here because I'm committed to this. I don't let people down. And I will never let my country down. I'll go to my dying breath to defend my country and to stand up for my country. And it needs people like this, and it needs people like me to stand up here right now and fight for it, because it's not being fought for. The state of, and that brings me into the segue to the status of my race. Okay? I've been running for over 4 months, a very successful campaign. My own party, the only people who are coming out against me is my own party, the Nassau GOP. They're primarying me. I've seen the polls. I've seen every single poll, and I know they have too. And because they've seen those polls, they know that I will win when I get on the ballot. So they're doing everything they can to keep me off the ballot. But they don't know me. I'm tenacious. I've got grit. I don't stop. I've got a great team behind me. I've got people who are invested in it, volunteers who care, who love this country, who are going to be out there with me every single day getting us on the ballot. We get on the ballot, we win the primary, and we win the general. I'll tell you that right now. I'll make that right
Suozzi's, made his comeback in that district. How do you evaluate what he's done? Do you agree with everything he's done or disagree with everything, or?
I'll tell you, I can evaluate that with a Bazooka Joe, with a Bazooka Joe fortune. You remember those?
Yeah.
Even a broken clock is right twice a day. Perfect example. Tom Suozzi went into Congress and in 6 years multiplied his net worth over 450%. 450%. He went in with a net worth of 2.8 million, and 6 years later he's worth 13 million. So I'm going to kick him out of Congress so he can manage my money. But that was a joke. But no. But by the same token, if you can go into Congress and multiply your net worth 4.5 times in just a couple of years, who do you think that attracts to run for Congress? That attracts grifters, people whose sole goal is to go in. Do you know 2 months ago he made almost $700,000 on his trades? He's got access to non-public information. And you know what? Trust is such an important issue to me. You know what I've already done? As a candidate, I'm not going to be one of those people who says, as a candidate, when I get into Congress, I'm going to put my money in a blind trust. I did it already, because I'm looking to establish trust with you, the voter. This is what I want to do. I'm out there every day engaging with the community, and I got to tell you, I love campaigning because I'm meeting people that are doing amazing things in our community that I never in a million years would have met before. And I know that I'm the right person for this job because I'm a humble guy, but I'm exactly the guy that I would want to have in there, because I know the lengths to which I will go never to let somebody down, and never to let the people who trust me and who I'm asking for their trust would never be let down. So.
Besides his financial things, what has he done legislatively?
Well, here's another thing. Okay, we know about all the fraud going on around the country, right? We heard about Minnesota, we heard about California and all these things, right? All these billions of dollars being stolen out from under us. Okay, it's in New York too. What's my opponent's solution? Not to do investigations and really look into where our money's going, the people who work hard, go out to work every day and pay their bills and pay our taxes. No, what's his solution? Let's raise taxes. He's going to raise taxes 2.6%. So that's exactly what his policy is. So I have a problem with that, and I know you do too.
Yeah.
So that's where we're going with it.
I got a question for all of you, right? I've seen this before, people want to run for office. You guys are Congress. You guys are the top of the ticket. Who are your state senate and who are your assembly candidates that you're going to be down ballot from? Because if you're going to run alone and you're not going to have anybody under your petitions, my question is, do you intend on having down ballot candidates, a state senate, an assembly? And will you petition with those people? Because quite frankly, if there are people running for office and you guys are on the top of the ticket and you got the funds and everything, if you don't have people underneath you to petition with and to form a coalition and a team, it's going to be rough. So I would ask, who do you have or who do you intend to have under your name being on the top of the ballot?
I think that's a good question. I think it's a fair question completely. I have no problem. I will work with everybody. I don't care if you believe something different from me. I haven't experienced everything in the world, and our experiences are what drive our opinions. So, because I haven't done that, I will work with anybody. As long as you're interested in making our country better, and you have an interest in making our society and our community better, I will work with anybody. Democrat, independent, I don't care who you are. I have no ego whatsoever. I will get out there and roll up my sleeves and work my ass off to make sure that we have the real representation that we don't have right now.
Do you want me to go? Do you want me to?
Oh, you could.
Okay.
Well,
No, in Manhattan, we have a great slate of down ballot candidates. We're very excited about it. Alina Bonsell running on the Upper East Side. So no, we're very excited. The top of the ticket's gonna be great too. We have some great statewide candidates. So I think for the first time in a long time, there's a lot of real energy and enthusiasm behind the Republican candidates running in Manhattan and again statewide. We have such a huge opportunity here to leverage this sort of reawakening in terms of the people in Manhattan seeing what socialism is doing and wanting real solutions and real answers to their problems, not these fairy tale solutions and fairy tale promises that socialism has promised throughout world history that have never worked. So we're very excited and we're gonna win in November. I'm telling you right now, we're gonna win.
Yeah.
Exactly to both, I think that the benefit of Mom Donnie is that you can't not see it. So the time is now for fresh people, and like we've all said, to work with everyone, like I referenced before. Put aside the personalities, we need to get things done. We need people in office that are gonna get things done, that have the people's interests at first, at heart, that are gonna introduce legislation. So those people, I think the wonderful thing, as hard as it is right now, and as bad as things literally look in Manhattan right now with the black snow everywhere and the property taxes going up, is that it's a perfect time for new humanistic leadership to rise up, where we can all put aside the he said, she said, social media yin yang, and get some things done, because people should not have to go to the pharmacy and be asked to pay $601.99 for their life-sustaining medication. So yes, I will work with anyone that wants to get things done. Thank you.
Okay, let me introduce the next candidate with Jordon, Anabilah. He is running in the 9th Congressional District in Brooklyn, which is currently occupied by Yvette Clark. In his case, he's endorsed by the Kings County GOP already. So, please.
Good evening. Can you see me on that thing? I'm told I have to make sure I'm in the window.
You're on it.
Okay, as long as I'm on it, I'm not gonna be in your bubble. My name is Anabilah-Azumah. I'm running in the 9th Congressional District against Yvette Clark. And our district typically has had no real options in terms of competition. They basically has been juggled between Democrats. And you have Yvette Clark, which is, I guess you would call her a machine candidate. And then you'd have various non-machine candidates that would occasionally try and challenge her. A couple of years ago in 2018, she almost lost her seat to one of them. And now she has two non-machine candidates who actually care about people's issues, challenging her from the left. I think that there is an appetite in this country for people who want to solve problems. And obviously, both machines, but particularly the Democrat machine, likes to talk about anything but issues. You will find that when you start talking to people who don't like Donald Trump about issues, they either don't know the issues very well, or they acknowledge the fact that no one is addressing their issues. Either of which works very, very well for Republicans that want to define ourselves as opposed to being defined by people that don't like us. This is our biggest task right now, because we have to make sure that we get out to the voters that we care about actual issues and not just parties, right? That is what makes people vote for candidates as opposed for just systems. And particularly in my district, they're used to just going down the line D and just checking all the Ds, and they don't know anybody that's on that ballot. So in this atmosphere, we have the opportunity to define ourselves, who we are as individuals, in order to get people's votes. In this cycle, my main three issues are, first, the rise of the machines. And I call it that because we are getting moved towards an algorithmic government, where we take people out of making decisions and we start having machines and computers make decisions. This is my number one issue. We have to always make sure that we have a human in the chain to be responsible for decisions that are made in government. If we allow people to automate the government, then government becomes run by a technocracy that's unaccountable. And we see a lot of that happening, right? We have lists that people get put on. We don't know how they get put on those lists. No one can explain how to get put on that list or how to get taken off those lists. This is unacceptable. Every decision that's made by government that affects people must have a human to be answered to. The second major issue in my campaign is to stop World War III. Why do I say that? World War III this concept is being used as a way to restructure the American society. So you're gonna have your normal politics in the background,
We have a lot of people preparing for a big war that they know we cannot win. But it's only during wartime that they get to restructure the society in a way that they would like it to be going forward without people's consent. And they do that with a variety of emergency declarations and short-term adjustments. This is temporary for the war, et cetera, et cetera. We'll go back to normal. And then we never quite get back to normal, just like COVID, right? We never fully got back to normal after the COVID emergency. And this big war that's being planned, we will never go back to the normal. And one of those casualties, obviously, is going to be our free speech and our Second Amendment. These are the two biggest worldwide complaints about America, that we're hard to control because we can speak freely and defend ourselves. And protecting our free speech is the third aspect, right? The government's already figured out that it's very hard for them to shrink our window of free speech on their own. So they've outsourced this. And we saw it, the left did it during the Biden administration, where they had their friends in Silicon Valley shrink people's free speech. So you can say what you want, we just won't display you. We'll just ban your account or turn you off. And now we're seeing the same people switch sides of the table with the same behavior. We're willing to ban people who speak out against your interests on the right. And meanwhile, those are not necessarily our interests, right? There's a lot of complaining about the fact that our leaders on the Republican side are not listening to the base when they get in power. And as a result, our base has become very disillusioned, because we're saying if we lose ground with Democrats in office and we don't gain any ground with Republicans in office, what's the point? So we need to make sure that we protect our free speech at all costs and hold these electronic systems accountable that try to censor us on their own or on behalf of the government. Thank you very much.
Can I ask you a question?
Yes, sir.
What is your position on marijuana? Under federal law, marijuana is illegal to Schedule I drug. Would you support legalizing marijuana, or would you oppose legalizing marijuana?
My position is that I would support legalizing it, but I'm not a fan of marijuana. I hate the way it smells. But I understand that the legalization of it takes away the profit from our cross-border narco trafficking friends.
That's not true. At least a more black market. California is proof.
California is dysfunctional. And most of the West is actually taking away that cross-border market. This is why the drug cartels have moved to human trafficking over drugs. Because once the drugs are grown locally in the United States, it takes the profit away from them, and actually the consumption goes down because it's no longer this edgy thing to do in many of the Western states.
Okay. Any other questions? Ed?
I want to make a point about the marijuana. When I was in college, I knew somebody, Long Beach, smoked a joint, went through a light, killed somebody. Okay, they tested him for liquor, alcohol, nothing, drugs. Okay, that's the first thing. Second thing is, I'm across the street from Costco, and somebody's over there, he's driving a short bus, you know, kids have a problem, and he's out there smoking a joint. I really don't trust this fellow with the kids, right? That's all I have to say. I don't want any explanation.
Jim?
Yeah, I would like a brief comment, if possible, from each one of you on this. If you're familiar with the economist Thomas Sowell's statement that there are no solutions, only trade-offs. Can you please say what you think about that? One by one.
Anyone?
What do you mean specifically?
Well, people talk about such and such will be a solution to such and such problem. Such and such will be a solution to such and such problem. That's an illusion. There are no solutions, only trade-offs. Whenever you do something that you tout as a solution, you're kidding yourself. You might solve one thing and cause new problems at the same time.
You
So
might.
I think that's what soul meant.
Right, but that's a very broad generalization. I mean, there are certain things that you can stop with a solution. That won't be a trade-off. I mean, I guess there's always gonna be a trade-off in general when you're, coming up with a solution, but if you have something.
Okay, next.
Specific.
I mean, I think there are certain things that are very black and white, things that are right and wrong, issues of morality, things like that. I don't want to get too philosophical, but some things I think are pretty clear. With a lot of other issues, I think there is sort of a balancing of competing factors that have to be weighed. You have to look at the economic impact of policies versus if we're trying to sort of regulate something to protect people's health. So I think in a lot of cases, there is a balancing there that we have to look at.
I think one of the biggest challenges in our current climate is we're promised everything and given no delivery. So, I'm gonna get elected and everything's gonna be free. This is not, just saying, this is not realistic. So I think what's missing, and I know I'm a little bit of a broken record with this, but I think we've all alluded to it, is that we need people that we can trust, that have experience, that are going to dialogue, because there's, we're gonna have to be willing to meet in the middle. There are gonna be trade-offs. Not everybody's gonna get everything, and I think we have to be honest with the people. We have to say to the people, look, again, we didn't get here overnight. We're not gonna get out of it overnight. We're gonna do our best to rectify or create legislation. You're probably not gonna get everything you want, which I think alludes to what you're saying. But if we can start to create policy and legislation and build some trust back, which is gone, because everyone's up there, wanting to be on Fox or MSNBC or whatever your game is, I'm gonna do, we know it's not gonna happen. So this is where the gap is. So I think having people in office that want to try, come to the table, have dialogue, break these situations down. They're all so layered and so complex, and make sure that wherever we come to and whatever the trade-off is, the people are going to benefit in the long run. I think we need to be honest, it's gonna take some time and some, it takes time to build trust, so, yeah.
I think there's definitely something to be said for the trade-off issue. The main thing that you have to be able to do is explain why you believe what you believe and why you're doing what you do. Whether people agree with you or not, if they understand where you stand, you are easier to deal with in the long run, and it's easier to trust you. Like, for example, Thomas Massey, sometimes he makes votes, make people happy, sometimes he doesn't. But he's always very clear about why he does or does not do what he's doing. And so people understand him and they can trust him even if they don't agree with everything he does. And I think that part of the reason why our friends in DC don't like him is that the fog of war is a tool for them. And he's the total opposite, showing that you can actually govern in a transparent manner. And that's what everyone wants except for them.
Thank you.
I have a question
Thank you
for
all.
this gentleman.
Let me go ahead.
All right, I have a question. I'll give him the question.
Greg, have you looked at Swazi's record? Is how far below the 100% going down the line with Hakeem Jeffries is he? And are you pointing out to your constituents that voting for Swazi is basically voting for Hakeem Jeffries? We know all Hakeem Jeffries wants to do is impeach Trump. And therefore, basically, you're totally throwing away your vote if you vote for Swazi.
Yeah, that's actually a good question. There's quite a bit. I mean, he comes back to our district at every turn and paints himself as a moderate. He always sides with the left. He always goes with the left. He's done it with the trans, sports female, the transport ban. He voted against that when we said he was going to stand with our kids. He said that he agreed with 80% of what's in the big beautiful bill. What did he do? He's trying to appeal to the moderates, but he voted against it. He does that at every single turn, and he actually just tipped his hat, and we caught it and just put it up. We just posted a video of him saying that he was complaining about Trump coming out against him so quickly. And he did that, and he's painting that as, well, he knows that he's going to get impeached if I get back in, if we get back in, Democrats control the House. So he made that very clear, and we called that out. We put that right out there the last 2 days. So that's what you're voting for. You're voting for our president to get impeached, and you're voting for leftist policies. But it's all wrapped up in a guy who's trying to pretend to be a moderate when he comes back and he asks for your vote. Perfect example of why I'm doing this, because I'm coming out here and asking for your vote. I couldn't do that unless I was going to be honest and transparent, and I wasn't working every single day to be the best possible candidate I could be, because it's a sacred pursuit that we're doing. You're making decisions on behalf of so many hundreds of thousands of people. That's very serious to me. I don't want to ruin that. I don't want to fall on my face on that. I want to get in there, hit the ground running, and be as effective as I can possibly be to make our country the strongest it can be, the most prosperous it can be, and the most just it can be for the people who actually pay the bills. That's right.
Next question is also, you want to make some comments before we go to the next question?
No.
Okay, Sophia?
So, in 2023, I was searching in New York to find out if there were any Republicans in the city. And so, for the lady in the middle, I don't remember your name, MIT numbers lady. So, this is Caroline. So, it's not a question, I think it's really important, because Danny does a fantastic job of bringing candidates to us. And it's really, when you look at New York, is a liberal city, is Democrat run and everything. And most of the times you hear that Republicans run and they lose. And but the thing is that I feel really happy with, and I just want to continue to encourage you. Win or lose, we want to keep running. We want to keep putting candidates out there, because this is a numbers game, and we got to get people out there, learn from it. And I'm not saying that you're losing, but I just really want to say that, we're doing a numbers game. When I first started looking, there was no Republicans really running, and now you're just seeing people get into that race and get into that race and get in that race. So I think that we can take the city, and I just want to continue to encourage you as you run, every one of you. And we need to take the city, but we've got to keep going at it. We've got to keep fighting. And for me, I'm not ever going to run. I always tell Danny that. But I'm going to be on the ground seeing how I can get people to get out and vote or whatever it is. So good luck. Don't give up. Whatever you learn, win or lose, help other people to get in the race to run. Good luck.
Thank you so much. What is your name?
I'm still Sophia.
It's so great to meet you. And I think what you said is so true. As Republicans, there's so many of us actually in Manhattan. When I talk to friends across the country, they say, how can you live in New York City? There are no Republicans, no conservatives, nobody open-minded. It could not be further from the truth.
All right.
You have to be on the ground in Manhattan to feel it, though.
Yeah.
And I think if you've been in Manhattan recently, maybe you haven't, you're here in beautiful Queens, but if you've been in Manhattan recently, there really is a groundswell of enthusiasm for a new voice.
Yeah.
And new thinking. And I don't think the mayoral election in November was representative of where most people are on the issues. I really don't. And I think we need to meet voters where they are. We need to reach out to everybody, Republicans, of course, but Democrats and independents. I think people are looking for a truly credible, viable alternative. And so that's what I'm trying to do. And that means a lot, what you said. I really appreciate it.
For everyone, yes, encouragement. Yeah, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Anyone want to make some comments?
No.
So Caroline, I really hope that you get on the ballot and you get that party's endorsement. And, for Greg, I just want to tell you, that Tom Suozzi is one of the worst ones out there. This past, and I want to tell everybody so that everyone can hear it on the YouTube channel. This past January 6th, I went to the 5-year memorial for Ashley Babbitt, because everyone here knows that I walked out of prison last January 20th with a pardon from President Trump. And he was, this past January 6th, Tom Suozzi was rallying with Antifa on the sidewalks. Okay, it's on video. He came, I saw him, I said, Tom, what's going on? He says, who are you? I says, it's Phil Grillo, you know who I am. And he goes, oh, yeah. And he walks over. I says, you know what, I want to say something to you, you know? He goes, what? He walked right into the memorial. Nobody knew who he was. So, I says, you're buying a lot of stocks and so on and so forth. And, he says, and you're returning to the scene of the crime. Can you imagine? This is what this guy says. Tom Suozzi's a guy who when President Trump was elected, everyone forgets, said that the Second Amendment was meant for presidents like President Trump. Fast forward 4 years later, what happens? President Trump's getting shot at. You got a guy in the bushes at a golf course. So I want to help you get on the ballot to fight that guy, Tom Suozzi. He's one of the worst in Congress. Absolutely one of the worst. Who has a higher stock trading rate than Nancy Pelosi.
Oh, no.
It's higher. It's unbelievable. Nobody's ever seen anything like it on Long Island. And Greg Hatch is the man to put a stop to that. That's what I'd like to say. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. And you want to say some comment before I go to the next question, Greg?
Yeah.
Just wanted to say thank you, I think absolutely right.
Okay. Anton?
Yes, I had a question for this gentleman here. You've given us a lot of theoretical things about, your philosophy and all that, what's going on. I want to know strictly, in your district, you have a lady congressperson right now. You're running against her. Why are you running against her? Are you against some policies? Give us your reason for what you're going to do for the district.
To put it bluntly, Yvette Clark is a placeholder. So she represents herself.
What about you?
I don't represent myself. I'm a Republican surrounded by liberals. I grew up with liberals. I went to school with liberals. Being a Republican and being a vocal Republican gets you cut off from a lot of people and ostracized. It's a cost for me to exist. So, and say anything political. So my district needs representation. They do not need a machine politician whose only objective is that she hates Donald Trump. That is what animates her most. In terms of actual policy, she does very little on policy. She's introduced 1 or 2 bills in 16 years. She is a placeholder to, in essence, serve the general need. What I'd like to do in my district is I want people to build wealth so that they can control their own neighborhoods. A lot of our neighborhoods are controlled by other people because of the fact that many of my neighbors don't have their own wealth, don't own their own property, and don't have real stock in our neighborhood in terms of control. And as a result, they have a lot of resources that are not brought to our communities. Our kids are not getting educated properly, and our community's political energy is used to benefit everyone except the people in our community. And that is not sustainable, and it's slowly destroying our community, and we need to put a stop to it, and you're not gonna get that from a machine politician.
Greg, I want to commend you for running in Congressional District 3. I think you can win. Tom Suozzi himself said there was MAGA voters, a lot of Donald Trump voters who voted for him to get him elected into Congressional District 3. So he needs MAGA voters. I like Tom Suozzi. I like that he voted for ICE before he reversed his position. And my family's close to Tom Suozzi. We know him personally. At least my mom and dad do. And one of the things he does that my family likes is he's on the Pakistan Kashmir committee in Congress. And I ask you that you please look into the Kashmir issue, make a position statement on it, and consider being the person to replace Tom Suozzi in that position. That can help me gain people to come and support you. I really hope you win. or come close to winning, and I look forward to seeing your other policies. God bless you.
You know, for those who think that, okay, 2 years ago we lost with the Democrats, I was running for the city council. But true, the winning was the percentage. In my district, Republican had only 6%. After when I finished, it was over 13%. That's over double percent. We go more than 100% up. That's a percentage for the Republicans going up, and you're going to win. And you have to believe that you're going to win, and you're going to fight to win. That's not, so like, or maybe, or not. Put your heart, and I see Caroline and Greg and I'm sorry for.
That's okay.
It's not easy, my name.
That's fine.
And Amy, just, if you put your heart, you're going to win. Because I think that people are fed up with Democrats.
Yes.
And we need new, especially young people to take over. Thank you.
Good job.
It was just coming. So we won.
You want to make some comments before we go to any next questions? Okay, back.
I think it for me as a guy who worked next to 2 welfare offices. There is a massive, massive fraud, okay? I have videos, people get out of the welfare office, the disability office, the social security office, and they're dueling with their canes, okay? The guy runs past me, taking steps 2 at a time, and then he gets in front of the social security office in downtown Brooklyn, and suddenly he's got a limp, okay? I went with a tenant who really was messed up, and they wouldn't give her a nickel. And I see all these young 20-year-old girls with, I kid you not, a 30-second interview. They asked this perfectly healthy girl, she said, you got any money? No. You got a place to live? No. You got a job? No. Who's the guy you're with? Meanwhile, this guy's getting a second base. Oh, he's a friend. They approved, the woman says, looks at it and says, you're approved. Okay? This is what's going on. I work for the city. We got plenty of fraud. And I'll bring it up. I have a 9-year squatter in my building. Perfectly healthy. She just doesn't work. And so she gets free legal aid. And they've been stalling the case for 9 years. And she simply doesn't work. I don't know what other benefits she's getting. She's 32. She's pretty. She's got the whole alphabet behind her. But she hasn't worked in 10 years. And this is the type of stuff, and you tell us that we have to put our taxes together. So I'm looking for some type of positive from you guys that you're gonna go after some of this fraud. And one thing you gotta notice with Trump's thing when he said you gotta work if you're healthy, you know what the cutoff age for that was? 54. So if you work, you retire at 65 now for the city. If you don't work, and the cutoff for SNAP is 54. So wait a minute, there's a 10-year difference there, that if you don't work, you retire from not working 10 years before somebody who actually works. So that's one of the things I'd like to see you guys address, is the details of that. Because people should not be on welfare at 20 years old.
Do you have any whistleblowing?
You want
to make a comment?
Yeah, I'll comment on that. I'll tell you exactly where I stand on that. I think this fraud in our welfare system all over the country, and we've seen it in Minnesota, we've seen it in California, we've seen it in a lot of other states, and we've seen it in New York. And I would never in a million years think to raise taxes before we had a real accounting of where all our money is going. We're already the most highest tax state in the country. And to get even further into that, I really don't think, I absolutely, we're the wealthiest country in the world, we're the strongest country in the world, and we should take care of the people in our country who can't take care of themselves. Who can't take care of themselves, who need a crutch. It shouldn't be a way of life. We shouldn't have generational benefits for families, okay, let's okay, have more kids so you can get more money. And I heard this a million times, and heard it from people all over the state. And that's a real problem. So I'm gonna be delving more.
I'll just add something briefly, and I'm glad you raised this issue. I mean, we need to shut down the national Ponzi scheme of fraud, as you brought it up, that's corroding our safety net across the board, not institutionalize it like the Democrats want to do if we hope to prosper as a country over the next 250 years. It's a major issue, and we're looking into it too.
Thank you. First off, yes and yes. Second off, and you know, obviously the fraud that we know is happening, and again, before we raise taxes, we need to see what the heck is going on. And also I heard a statistic not long ago that states were given a crazy amount of money to supply our illegals here, and the people are suffering, and I get resentful about that, and we need to take care of our own people. And also on a personal story, I was at a time in my life where I needed to be on disability, I needed to be on food stamps, and had a traumatic injury. And when that was over, I literally went into the office and I said, I don't need to do this anymore. It was a brief thing, I'm able to go off it now and pass the challenge. And they literally were trying to talk me out of it. They said, no, once you're off, you have to apply back on and, you know, buy some groceries and donate it to the church. And I said, but this is taxpayer. Like, I really don't need this anymore. So we also need to train, you know, the people in the systems and hold them accountable and make sure that there's investigation into who's applying. And I shouldn't have had to have an argument with her to go off my Medicaid. I mean, this really kind of stumped me. So this also needs to be addressed. If that's happening to me, I'm sure it's happening. It was a long time ago and I did go off it. And so on a short-term fix, yes, it's a great thing, but we need to, and also again, the complexity of the issue, we need to create jobs. We need to create a working environment for people in America where they can have middle-class jobs and they don't have to work 50, 60, 80 hours a week and still be on SNAP. Like, that is wrong. So these are very complex issues that we need to address. We need to investigate before we raise taxes.
There are too many people in the United States riding on the United States wagon and not pulling. And they're about to get a very rude awakening because our financial system is changing. And this idea of exporting our power globally so we can get things that we can't afford to buy is ending. So we have to get back to the mindset in this country that you're gonna work, you're gonna help the people working, or you're not gonna be here. There's a large class of NGOs, we call them, right? There are a lot of organizations that are benefiting from all of these programs, that this money is flowing through them from the government. Thank you. That the money is flowing, you know, through them from the government to all of these people. So everybody wants to get their piece. And they are the ones that are largely the power behind this safety net and why they don't want it audited. Because when people start to see how much money comes out of the government and how much money actually gets to people, before we even talk about waste, people are going to want things to be done differently. We know that when you donate to your religious organization, that 30 or 40% of your money is not disappearing in the ether before it gets to people. So my focus in Congress is going to be very simple. If you are in the United States, particularly if you're not American, you are helping us or you need to leave. If you are an American, you are working, you are helping the working people, okay? If you can't physically pick up things or move, you can help babysit kids for the working people. You need to help this nation move forward. There is no more free riding for the United States because we cannot survive with all these people free riding, and it has to end.
is actually a question mainly for Amy, since your whole position is and policy is focusing on healthcare and the health insurance industry right now. So you say like it's a problem, we can all agree that's a problem. What specific programs or policies would you be putting in place so that you don't have to pay $691.99 for insulin or anything else? Because I've also had a lot of issues with the healthcare system. I had my colon recently removed, and it was a huge ordeal for me. So I'm curious, what's your plan once elected into office to fix the healthcare industry?
Thank you for the question. Congratulations on your recovery. I know how difficult the systems are. I have a long list of healthcare initiatives, including the Prescription and Formulary Reform Act, which would cut the middleman out so that your doctors decide your healthcare, not you, and that your insurance company won't be able to say mid-year, oh, sorry, we want you on a different insulin, even though that doesn't work for you. And we're gonna have to deal with the subsidies and why we have the subsidies and the pharmacy benefit managers. There's too many people in the line of fire right now. And there's too many organizations profiting. CVS owns everything from your clinic to your doctor to your rehab to your, so this is gonna have to be addressed, and I think, again, these are very complex issues and they're not gonna change overnight. But part of it is the lobby. We know that Big Pharma puts in hundreds of millions of dollars, so not taking any corporate campaign money. We've gotta get corporate campaign finance reform in order to start to move the healthcare needle, because this is the problem. This is CVS coming in and wanting to make these changes for their own profit, for who gets the contracts. So my policies are all revolving around doctor-patient relationship, integrative medicine. You actually get tax credits and benefits if your labs improve, because we have a sick care system, not a healthcare system. I pay a fortune out of pocket for functional medicine, and I think we're seeing this change a little bit right now. But, if you actually do the things you need to do and take responsibility and start to make improvements, you're gonna get benefit for that. So guess what? The insurance company's gonna make less money, but that's gonna have to be okay, and it's gonna have to work for everybody, but we've gotta get out the middleman. We've gotta get, honestly, the campaign finance reform issue is the bigger overlying problem, so that we can deal directly doctor, patient, insurance companies in my policies are gonna be penalized if there's more than a 24-hour wait. I know a lot of us have had that, where they just deny at the last minute. My own orthopedic surgeon, who's a trauma surgeon, I got run over by a bus, I was rebuilt, and he said, they're trying to take what I do, they've all opted out of Medicare, and they're literally trying to stop paying out what he does and only pay what they want to pay so that the insurance companies can make more money. So these issues are in my policies, need to be discussed. We've got to get the lobby money out of Congress so that we have people that are working to change the limit.
Can I follow up on what you're saying? Because my question is,
legislation, that was the one.
my question is that the citizens, the natives of America have a hard time getting healthcare and everything. If the illegals weren't getting all of this, would we solve this problem? Because I know you say everything is complicated and everything, but I like what I came and read what the gentleman said. Can we just, as Republicans, not follow this agenda of the Democrats, this nanny state?
Yes.
This city is, New York City is a nanny state. And I'm an immigrant. I didn't come here for nanny state. I didn't have that back home, and I'm having it here. We're following this agenda of the Democrat Party. Can we as Republicans get a spine? We need to just have a stance. No more of this nanny state, no more, what is your policy? Well, it's to fight them, I don't know. We are here as Republicans to stop illegals from being on all of these services that as natives we can get it.
Well, that is.
You know, so I think I'm asking the question or just saying this because I'm listening to this and I'm just saying here, I'm happy to see more candidates get in the race, but you know, third party and whatever. Illegals are in this country and in this city, and I worked in shelters, so I know, getting services and native borns are not getting it. And we as Republicans have to make a stance. When I was going through to become a citizen, we could not get food stamps. We could not be on public assistance. When you're going through that, you cannot do it. And now I'm going crazy seeing illegals getting health care and shelter. We couldn't get any of that. We couldn't qualify. So I just want us to be really straightforward, like what the gentleman said in red. We are going, this is what our policy is. We're not following the agenda of no more Democrats anymore. Enough of that. No more health care, no more anything, because native born have to get those services, and they're not.
I don't agree, thank you, you're 100% right. Yes, they were right, 100%, I don't agree with Sanctuary City. Illegals are pulling. Well, this is what it's the term, right? It's not, that's why I'm saying, yes, we need to not be giving all these resources to people that are not, shouldn't be here.
It's straightforward, they end in that,
Yeah.
that's the end, that's
So,
it. Yeah.
but that I think is also a very serious thing, and yes, we need to end it, and at the same time, deal with how we're gonna reform the healthcare system, which I think honestly is
That
gonna.
is reforming the healthcare system, ending it, ending it, ending it.
Well, ending it is gonna pull off, yes, of Medicaid and all of that 100%.
I think we have to be very nuanced about what's happening here because we have a lot of America that's impoverished. We can't just blow things up. With Medicaid in particular, if we basically make it so that we arrest any mayor, governor, et cetera, that diverts, because there's no money specifically for illegal immigrants. What's happening is money is being flexed to them, to these uses out of existing programs. So this is what's happening.
Yes.
And it's very, very easy to fix. You say, if that happens, we're locking up the executive in that jurisdiction, done, right? But the problem is that there are too many Republicans that are signed on to this. We have to work on our people, right? If our people would back us up to put a stop to that, we can put a stop to that. This is happening, and if you think I'm kidding, look at the Senate Republicans, and anytime we try to fix certain structural things, it's dying in the Senate because they're not really on board with this. There is enough money for all of our poor Americans to be taken care of and to receive health care and to receive services, right? We have the ability for them to go to the hospital and be treated through Medicaid. There's enough money there as long as the money is not being flexed. So I believe personally, for example, since we're being dragged kicking and screaming into war, that we should be putting everyone under the age of 40 on Medicare immediately to make sure that they're getting proper health care from the very beginning when they're 18 and that they're fit for military service. Because one of the biggest problems we have is that a lot of our young people are not fit for military service. I believe the number was something like only 25% of the group 18 to 40s fit for military service. We are dead in that scenario. So the first thing we have to do is put them on Medicaid and say, okay, you have health care as long as you meet the military standard. And they will. Okay, you're giving them health care for free. You're giving them their gym membership for free. We have the money to keep them in shape with part of our military budget and make sure that they're all covered, right? So we can use our money differently for healthcare to make sure that we have better healthcare outcomes in our country, as long as we focus on our people for once.
Okay, any other questions?
This question is only for Amy. Would you support universal health care?
Yes.
Just one last thing, Greg, the media has so distorted the ICE activities in places like Minneapolis. I mean, that's going to be a very sensitive subject for any Republican, I would think. I mean, Swazi already kind of making noises about, do you support ICE as a Gestapo that's wreaking havoc on innocent, poor immigrants. What's your advice to other Republicans that how to deal with that ICE problem?
That's the thing, I think we need to have conviction and to stick to what you believe. I mean, if it's, I'm a strict constructionist when it comes to the Constitution. I know the Constitution very well. And that being the case, I mean, there are some issues that come up, and I'm all for freedom of speech, freedom of assembly, and protecting all of that. However, I voted, this is what we voted for. I fully back ICE, 100%. I fully back our law enforcement. And I fully back supporting illegals who are here and siphoning off our system. It just can't work that way. That's not the way the world works. I mean, if you're here in this country and you're availing yourself of our citizenship, you need to have skin in the game. You need to work. You need to pay taxes. You need to build something. And I see immigrants do that every day, and I love seeing that. And that's what America's about to me. It's not about someone coming here, not assimilating, and taking and taking and taking, because they're taking from you and me, the people who work very hard. And I want to say one other thing before I end it, and it might seem off topic, but it's not, because I'm a big picture guy. The SAVE Act that just passed the House. If we can't protect our vote, all of this means nothing. It means absolutely nothing. Because then they can put whoever they want in, and that's what's being done on a daily basis. So we need to get the SAVE Act passed, we need to protect our vote, and we need to start taking care of America.
Any other questions? I guess Cooper, Nico, Jay, you want to say something? Ida, you want to have questions? Yep.
As a newbie, all right, I'm a Republican and I'm a legal immigrant. And then, I see the world the way it is, instead of just seeing from the eyes of Americans. And then, in a way, I heard a lot of speeches from you guys, and you told us what you're going to do, but nobody really told me how you're going to achieve it. And then this is number one. And the other thing is that I sometimes work at at a part-time for Board of Election. And then when a lot of voters came in, they don't even know who you guys are. So because they don't have information, so they ended up voting for the Democrats. Although they don't know who they are either. So there are two things I think from my observation is, number one, can you make sure more people knows about you guys? If I wouldn't have come today, I would have no idea who you are in November this year, what to do. As a Republican, I would vote for a Republican, but during primary, I'll be totally lost. And then also, I tried to Google you guys. In the past, I couldn't find anything. And then this time, I'm very happy, at least I can find 3 of you. Easily about your background and how you look like and what you did or where did you go to school. And then I think if you want Republican to win, you better make yourself. It's okay. You better make yourself known to the voters. Honestly, otherwise, Republican will never win anything. Not anywhere near in New York State, because I don't think we have any Republican Congress people representing the city.
One.
Representative Holly's talking.
Yeah, but Staten Island always
Buys
looked
a lot of
different.
stocks.
Well, this is why they're trying to break up that district as we speak.
As New Jersey.
Brooklyn.
Any other questions? We're gonna let them make, make the final remarks. Any other questions before they make the final remarks? Jim?
Can I make a comment before?
Sure.
I can do it without that.
Yeah.
You made me think of something, Caroline, you and I were talking about it earlier. I had a certain idea about what I want to hear from candidates. I've had ideas for years and years. And then this was reinforced by hearing Ed Rollins, the legendary campaign manager, on the radio a few months ago. And he said exactly what I've been thinking. I want to know who you are, and voters want to know who you are and what you're going to do. And we want to know, each one of those things is going to take some explaining. Explain who you are, describe your background, why you're running, and things like that. And then when you say what you're going to do, we need to know how you're going to do it and what effects you think it's going to have. So thank you for making me think of that. I think if you keep those things in mind, you can sharpen your message very well. That's just an idea.
No, I appreciate that. I think that's a great feedback.
And afterwards, we'll let you make a final remark. Maybe some couple of announcements.
I just want to go 30 seconds on that. There is no cookie cutter way to implement most of what we're talking about, right? That there's a vehicle. These bills are the vehicles to get things implemented. As you see with the SAVE Act, right? The SAVE Act is being implemented because Ana Paula Luna has got enough people to shut the floor down in the House if they don't attach it to something that's gonna pass, right? That's what she's doing. This is minutia that our bases largely cannot handle. We are in a 15, 30, 60-second news cycle where you kind of have to get things out quickly and get that general idea, and then people will drill down on what they're interested in. But what we're looking at in terms of implementing things in Congress really depends on who you're speaking to and what the vehicle is to implement it. We have to remember that we are talking to people, not at people. So we have to find out what the general interest is and then make sure that what we want is attached to that general interest. So I understand the idea of saying, how do you plan to do this? But the how is a matter of technical acumen based on what's happening in Congress. And this is something that I think, especially as MAGA people, we have to learn. We have to learn how the system works so that we can make it work for us. Because a lot of us are getting ground up in the gears of the system despite having good ideas.
Wonderful.
Yeah, I just want to speak to something.
Might as well now.
Okay, I guess in case you want to make your final remark?
You know, I wanted to speak to something you said. There's a big problem, yeah, you said, you know, you want us to be more well-known and so people can get out there, but it's a real uphill battle for all of us, okay?
Yes.
You know, people, to get out there, we used to choose our leaders based on what they've done and reputation and what they've built and how they treated people around them. It's not like that anymore. Now we choose our leaders based on how many views they have on Facebook, how many are on Instagram, and how many followers they have. And it's all about getting attention now. And that's a real problem. That doesn't bring the best people to represent you. It doesn't.
Sorry, that's democracy though. If nobody votes for you, there's nothing you can do.
Yeah,
Despite the fact that you might be very qualified, but you will never be able to do anything. That's democracy. It's not like, say, it's not like you were born to be a prince. Back in the old days, you would automatically have the authority.
Yeah,
So
I'd say that.
if nobody votes for you, what can you do?
Well, if nobody votes for you, you gotta go home and get out of
And
this
if
business.
they don't know you, you
No,
won't have a vote.
I agree, but I'm working very hard to work within that system, as I know everybody up here on the panel is, to get known in the district. So it all comes down to raising money and having the backing and engaging with the people, so you can really build an audience of people. And I've been doing that for months and months and months, and we've done very well with it. So we have a lot of grassroots support. But I'm a different kind of candidate. I'm putting $1 million of my own money up. That's how much I believe in this. But most people can't do that. And the sad thing is that I've met people who would be amazing members of Congress, people who advocate before the school boards that I see every month, going up there and advocating for our kids. Man, that's who I want to see running for Congress. But it's impossible for somebody like that to run for Congress. I've done very well in my life. I've built 2 big law firms. I've served my country. I've done all these things. And I'm putting $1 million of my own money up, and I'm getting fought tooth and nail by my own party because they know I'll beat their endorsed candidate. So that's the sad. What's that?
What happened to your last election?
The new last election, I stepped aside. Because we did our ballot.
I was following you.
Yeah, we did our ballot petitioning and everything, and then the party didn't endorse me. They endorsed somebody else. Who the same one that they endorsed this time. Yeah, and they endorsed him. I got sued off the ballot. They cleared the ballot. They cleared the field for their candidate who lost in a presidential election year. A Republican candidate who was endorsed by President Trump, who won the election by as many points as the person they're putting up now in a midterm election lost by, which makes absolutely no sense. So
did you got knocked off the ballot?
I got knocked off the ballot and I decided not to fight it because, okay.
I'm not aware of that.
Yes, that's what they do, they clear the field, so.
Just to let you know, just to follow up on what he's saying, all of Nassau County, all of Suffolk County 2 years ago, every single person that was primary, their golden boy or golden woman, were sued off the ballots. That's why we did not have a primary anywhere in Long Island 2 years ago. And that went for Assembly, Congress, legislature, and so on.
This time, I'm not gonna make the same mistake twice. I've got it set up, we're gonna get on the ballot, we're gonna get on the ballot. We have a lot of volunteers, a lot of people who believe in what we're doing, believe in what we're trying to do, and believe in our country and love this country. And we're going to get out there and get ballot signatures for us, and I'm gonna do anything that we do. So, we're gonna get on the ballot, we get on the ballot, all the polling shows us what, we're gonna beat their endorsed candidate in the primary. And we have a great shot. Same guy. But he's the
Young guy, right?
Yeah. He was a lobbyist, he worked for the Blasio. Yeah, all right.
Basically, the 9:22 to make your final remarks. My apologies. Any one of you make your final remarks, and then we're going to have a couple of announcements and close the meeting.
I'll be quick. All I want to say is that please start taking a look and being really careful about who we send to Congress, because these people are making some of the most important decisions for your life, for your family, and for your home. That's all I ask. Every single candidate up for every position, don't listen to what they say to you, but take it with a grain of salt and look at their backgrounds. Look at everybody's backgrounds. I promise you, you'll see how clear it is. Who you should be voting for.
I just want to thank you all again for inviting me to be here today. It was such an honor to talk with so many of you and to tell you why I'm doing all of this. And to your point, we've kicked off recently this campaign. We're going to be getting out there and talking to everybody. We're going to be building out our social media strategy. So you're right. People have to know who you are in order to want to support you. So I completely agree. And I'll just say that New York City is the center of global capitalism. And we need to come together in the interest of saving our city. We need to reclaim our city, and we're doing that, vote by vote. So please tell your friends about our movement. And again, just so honored to be with you all tonight. Thank you.
Yes, I will also thank you to you all, and yes, we are in a catch-22 now in terms of the media and the social media, but we are building on that and trying to put out actual legislative information, not just woo-woo, and as you know, we've all been saying New York City deserves better, and America deserves better, and we need people that we can trust and that are not bought out by big money and are gonna get down, and to the point of, was asked earlier, what we're gonna do is we're gonna get into Congress and we're gonna write legislation and propose legislation and work across the aisle and get those bills to the floor and get them voted on and passed. So that's our job, and I look forward to doing it. And thank you for having me.
I'd like to make sure I encourage everyone, not just people here, because you're already in the process. Folks at home, you might be watching this. It is petitioning season. We're coming, we might be knocking on your door. You may not necessarily be expecting us at 2 or 3 o'clock in the afternoon. Or bugging you at the bus stop. It's really, really, really important that you work with us in terms of signing petitions for people that you're interested in, because this is where the candidates are actually picked. This is the direction of the party. And if new people are not able to get involved with that process because you're nervous about putting your name and your address and signing something, understand that is your involvement in this process to keep control of it. And we need your involvement in order to make that change in Washington, D.C. Thank you.
Well, thank you very much. Thank you very much for being here with tonight. So you are all the winners, and if we can help you, let us know, and we'll spread the message out to the club. Before we close, let me announce the winners of the 50-50, and then Phil Burrow wants to make some comments. Let's see, and winners, let's see, these 3 people, please go to the table to pick anything you like. I have Tom, Eric, Richard, okay. Anything up on the table, and the winner of the 50-50 is Eric. So you'll win the 50-50. All right, and then we turn the speaker over to Joe Burrow again, closing remarks, and we'll end the meeting.
So 50-50 are all we know. Give to those people who want to join this Republican Party and pay for the membership.
Oh, anyone want to be a member tonight? Eric is going to pay for your membership. Anybody? It's a free membership if you want it. Okay, if you want. Okay, so go ahead.
Thank you, Danny. Thank you always for having me, and thank you for having me as a board member of this great Central Queens Republican Club. Oh, here I am. So I want to talk to everyone at home. Okay, I just got the phone call from the Queens County GOP about my nomination. Denied. Boo! I did not get the nomination. And what that means is it's war. Do you hear me? Do you hear me? Queen Tony Nunziato, Joanne Ariola, do you hear me? Chairman of the New York State GOP, Ed Cox, do you hear me? You gave money to Letitia James out of your political action committee. I know where all the bones are buried, and I'm going to expose you. Win or lose the primary, I'm going to win the primary against the Queens County GOP Vice Chair, Rob Speranza, who has actually done absolutely nothing. Running over and over again against Tom Swazi's puppet, Ed Braunstein, over and over again, doing nothing on the campaign, not exposing him for being the author of the bail reform bill, for being Sheldon Silver's student who died in prison. Good, he robbed the American people. President Trump wouldn't give him a pardon. The Queens County GOP and the New York State GOP make money, profit by loss on candidates. They raise the money like we saw with Curtis Lee. We're getting the nomination of all 5 boroughs. What a joke. Because he raised the $7 million. Look where it went to. We have over $70,000 going to, I'm just going to go ahead and say it, to the campaign manager and chief of staff of City Councilwoman Joanne Ariola, her name is Phyllis Incerello, and other party officials like Joe Cairo, who made $400,000 on the Mazzy Phillips race because she could raise the money. Just gonna keep exposing you all of you, you party hacks. I was with the Queens County GOP for years. I've gotten over 100 candidates on the ballot for them. And I decided it's my turn to run because I'm gonna fight Ed Braunstein. The party has a non-aggression pact with the Democrats. I know this because I was one of them. No, we're not gonna run anyone against them. 2 years ago, there's 18 assembly districts in Queens County. There was only 4 people running. 4 seats filled. The rest, the Democrats ran unopposed because they're corrupt. Joanne Ariola didn't have an opponent this year for city council. Vicky Palladino ran for city council, and now she's the district leader of the 27th Assembly District with her husband, didn't get one county committee. And by the way, the reorganization is in the odd year for Nassau County and Queens. I urge all of you to become county committee, and let's take over the Republican Party in Nassau and Queens and stop this corruption. These party officials are corrupt. They don't give the nomination. They're supposed to give the nomination after a primary. They just endorse whoever they like to run for office, and that's it. And then they try to knock everyone off the ballot who wants to run in a primary. Let the Republican voters decide who wins the primary, not the party. It's on. It's on. And I urge everyone in this room who can get signatures, who's a registered Republican, come out and help me, help Greg Hatch, help Caroline, help Amy, help Anabilah to get those signatures. Well, he's got the party's nomination in Brooklyn. Congratulations for that. So you'll be on a multi-candidate petition with them, and you'll get on the ballot. Get on that multi-candidate petition. We get on the ballot, we go as a team. The assembly districts. Joseph Chu's running in Grace Meng's seat. They put someone who's not Asian against Grace Meng, who was with Republicans in Bayside, with Tom Suozzi, with Ed Braunstein, with John Liu, who said that January 6th was worse than Pearl Harbor, lighting a Christmas tree with Republicans, with Republican Party officials, with my opponent, Rob Speranza, the malingerer. Always something wrong. I rolled my ankle. I can't get out of bed. Can you get me signatures? I swear to God, 2 years ago I had a broken leg. He came over to me and asked me to get him 100 signatures to get him on the ballot. I was so insulted. We knocked him off the ballot. And that's what we're going to do this year, along with Joseph Chu, myself, and many others. We're going to knock those Republican-endorsed candidates from the party off the ballot because their signatures are crap. They're garbage. They sit at the kitchen table. If you don't object and you don't do specifications to their signatures, they remain on the ballot. No more. No more. You're going to work. You're going to work. We're going to make the party officials work. They're scared of that. Very incompetent at the Board of Elections. All of those people who work at the Board of Elections are on behalf of the Republican Party. Okay? You might or might not get it, Caroline, because your chairwoman over there, Andrea Casamatides, she doesn't like other women, other blondes. They're not going to give you a nomination. Maybe they will. I don't know. But I hope that you get it, because getting those signatures in Manhattan is a nightmare. I've done it before. It's an absolute nightmare. So I urge everybody who wants to get signatures. Signatures starts Tuesday morning. I'm running out the door at 6 o'clock in the morning, and I'm not stopping until signatures end. And then we're going to do specifications to knock their candidates off the ballot. I urge everyone to join me. You don't want to join me? I'll do it myself. I'll stand alone and do it myself. And the Queens County GOP knows that I'm going to do it.
What seat are you running for?
26th Assembly District in Queens. State Assembly. I'm sorry if, I'm a little excited today because I didn't get the nomination. I deserved it. I worked the hardest when there was nobody. There was nobody. I ran all of Northeastern Queens. I fought against Danny Mayo. I knocked Danny Mayo off the ballot. He tried to knock me off the ballot. We're great friends now. It's a cycle. So, anyway, thanks a lot, guys. Good luck to all these candidates. Thank you.
views on the YouTube went up. All of a sudden. All right, here, we have a motion to adjourn the meeting. Motion, Ronald, do I have a second? Second by Joe. All in favor says aye. Aye. Thank you very much for coming tonight. 9:35, it has been hopefully an exciting meeting for all of us.
Very exciting. Try to keep that.
I think the last meeting got like 500 views.
That's a really good question.
Yeah, we come on later. Oh, hard. Yeah, we get one.
I don't know if they're rebuilding or redeveloping. It looks more like a redevelopment.
Thank you very much for joining us. We're ending the meeting at 9:35.
Unfortunately, all of it. Yeah, well,